Hey folks, welcome back for more InZOI news and updates. And I'm sick. So go ahead and mask up, avert your eyes, turn away, because your guy Jan needs to go to urgent care. I'm kidding, it is not that serious. I think it's just like this sore throat thing that like turned into like a sinus congestion that turned into like a runny nose. Look, I'm fine though. I have tea. I've been trying my best to keep hydrated. I worked today, believe it or not. Oh yeah, we're here for InZOI news, right? That's what we're here for. Well, what do you know? I got some for you. I mentioned it, okay, but I mentioned it just because my voice is weird. Let's talk about the title of this video. What did I title this as? I'm making the video spontaneously without any kind of scripting other than I have an article that I want to kind of go over with you. By the by, if you're interested in the article, I'll go ahead and link it in the description below. The article is called InZOI Director Says We Have a Great Respect for the Legacy The Sims Has Built and Don't See Their Game as a Direct Competitor because they ain't us. They could never be about it. I'm kidding, it doesn't say that. Alright, so InZOI Director says we have a great respect for the legacy The Sims has built and it doesn't see their game as a director, sees the game as a director, am I reading that right? Or am I like, do I have like a fever? Doesn't see their game as a director competitor? What? Director competitor? Also, this is an article title? Okay, either way, you can read the full written form of it in the description, follow the link. A couple of things I want to make note of. Oftentimes, in the zeitgeist of the world, I know you want me to get to the point, but I have none to make. No, alright, so I think I'm going to call this something to the effect of InZOI will not kill The Sims 4. I guess I have to make it more advertiser friendly. The InZOI will not beat The Sims 4, and quite frankly, it doesn't need to. Now, I've said this in comments, and I've said this in perhaps videos. I can't remember if I've said them in videos, but I've definitely said them in comments. I've basically made the case that InZOI doesn't need to directly compete with The Sims 4 in order to be successful. It just merely needs to exist and sustain a very good game, and then the people will follow. That's sort of been my MO. And here we are with Kjun basically saying the exact same thing because I speak for the whole company. No. Kjun and I are actually close, so I know all the ins and outs. Alright, so he basically says, and here's kind of where I want to get us started here. He says, we see InZOI not as a competitor to The Sims, but rather as another option that fans of this genre can enjoy. Kim told me during a recent interview for the latest issue of PC Gamer magazine. Why not just say Kim said, or Kim would go on to say. Anyways, okay, Kim would go on to say, we have great respect for the legacy The Sims has built over the years, since we know that reaching that much depth in such a short period of time is no easy task. This is due to the nature of life sim games, which cover the vast and complex concept of life, making it difficult to capture its every aspect. Yeah, it really doesn't need to compete with The Sims to be successful. I know we've been conditioned as consumers over the course of, I think maybe 20 years now, of microtransactions to believe that a game can't simply exist on its own. And what I mean by that is that you can't just make a good game that's feature rich, release that game, and then expect good revenue from that. Like, people just don't believe that anymore. They believe that age of video games is over, where you can just make a good game, people buy the good game, and there you have it. Like, you have profit. Games have turned into this huge investor market where everyone is trying to earn big money at the expense of the quality of their game. EA and the Sims 4 team are perhaps the easiest to make an example of this. By the by, I include the Sims dev team because they're in on it as well, reaping the extraordinary exploitative benefits. That said, this isn't me individualizing this to like a specific person. Rather, this is just a blatant observation that anyone could make. Don't go out of your way to like harass people. That's not what I'm saying. My larger point is that they have to keep shareholders and investors happy, and everyone just sort of co-signs on that. One way they do that is to chop up previously feature-rich expansion packs and then sell them back to you in The Sims 4, but doing so in parts. And I am telling you, it doesn't need to be like that. In fact, what if I told you that studios can get away with just making a good game and then living off those profits? Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian Studios being one of them. I've already detracted enough, so I don't want to detract too much away from this already, but I feel like a preface is needed here because there's just so much vitriol surrounding InZOI in The Sims 4, much of it just completely unwarranted. The fact of the matter is that InZOI is just not for everyone, and that there is a barrier for entry. That being if you have the PC or laptop to run it, and later down the line, if you'll have the console to run it. If you don't, I gotta say, that's okay. You can save up for it later should you choose to. You can make that a future goal for yourself. The game will be here when you're ready. There's no pressure, you know? Like there'll be hundreds of videos out there about the game as they are now. Gaming is a hobby, and you're not gonna be able to play every single game that you wanna play. Trust me, it took me years of savings to finally afford to build my PC. And I'm still having to improve it with new components, but does that mean I'll wanna root for a game's failure if I don't meet certain requirements? No, because I'm not a 9-year-old. Kjun goes on to say, our aim is to provide a different experience by highlighting our unique features. InZOI is designed to allow players to freely shape the life they desire using various creative tools, and to achieve this, we have a realistic visual style powered by Unreal Engine 5, an in-depth customization features, and AI-driven creative tools, and we hope that players explore these features to bring their imaginations to life and become their own protagonist and live in those worlds. And those tools, features, and gameplay are enough to make InZOI stand out from The Sims 4, and that's the alternative. You know, their development has always been to fill the gaps that The Sims 4 could not possibly cover, and that's okay. There's a market of people who would happily play a game in the style that InZOI presents, and that doesn't mean The Sims 4 won't happily exist alongside it. Here's the crux of it, okay? There are enough gamers out there with mid to high tier systems that will buy this game if it's good, even if the game doesn't run well, but the gameplay, the features are there. People will suffer through a bad experience for the sake of fun. I know this because for the longest time growing up, I could never play The Sims 2 and 3 without crashes or a lag-free experience. I never had a good gaming PC growing up. I had to play games on low to medium settings, and even then it was a challenge, so trust me, I get it. But then I grew up, and eventually down the line, I set savings aside, and over the course of actual years was able to build my PC. But did all those incredible PC games with extraordinary graphics and gameplay and features, did they need me to make sure that those games were successes? Absolutely not. They moved on without me, and those games are now considered by today's standard classics. But the point being, games will be fine as long as they are good. InZOI doesn't need to compete with The Sims 4, it doesn't need to topple them, or even need to win a majority of its fan base. They just need to create their best version of what they think a life sim should be, and from there they'll have sustained success. And should this all hold up at the end of the day, if InZOI turns out well, then we as a gaming community, we win. Like, it's a good thing if this game succeeds. If this game doesn't deliver and just becomes another cash grab, then that reaffirms the Sims 4 exploitative practices, as they'll never feel the need to change because we all know their community won't ever go out of their way to make them change. So yeah, InZOI won't end The Sims 4. That vitriol and back and forth is reserved for those who run defense for companies, which is just strange to me. Okay, I'm straying too far off here at this point. I think I need to take my cough medicine. Yeah. All InZOI has to do is be a good game, and the success will follow. I know, it's a revolutionary idea in an incredibly lamentable times. That's just how I feel. How do you feel? Won't you let me know in the comments below? I'm sorry. Hey, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate that, and I appreciate you. And I hope to see you in the next video, whatever the next video may be. So, until then, I'll see you then. What tea are you drinking? Do you like tea? Are you kind of a tea person? I like tea, I like coffee, but I don't think the caffeine's good for me right now. So I'm just doing tea, and it's mint tea with a bit of sugar. Maybe I shouldn't have had it with sugar. Bye for now.